Sonny Bunny, written by David Van Wieren. Narration, character voices, music, and produced by David Van Wieren. It was a cool spring morning, and the sun was beginning to peek its head above Kansas. A wink of its eyes shined off a window, catching the attention of a little bunny. His name was Sonny, the son of Benny and Honey, Bunny. Sonny stretched out his right front leg and yawned. Then he stretched out his left front leg. He kicked out his hindquarters and knocked some twigs away from his little stick house. I must be getting big, thought Sonny. I'm outgrowing my house. He took a good look at his hind leg. I've got big feet, Sonny noticed. Ma said that's for good understanding. Sonny hopped out of his little home and saw the grass had frost on it. Frosties, he shouted with glee. He went from blade to blade, nibbling on the frosted grass. Hey, Sonny honked, the clover is growing. I just love clover, especially the kind with 4 leaves. Sonny hopped over to inspect the clover. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sonny counted. Nope, Ma said 5-leaf clover is unlucky, he reasoned. But that dandelion over there is fine. Sonny hopped across the street to eat the dandelion. Behind the dandelion was a statue of a girl sitting down eating grapes. Good morning, said a tall man walking by on the sidewalk. Sonny wasn't scared of him at all. He had seen him many times before and sometimes hopped alongside of him for part of his walk. Good morning, Mr. V, Sonny squeaked. Sonny hopped along with him. They passed another statue. This one was of a boy and a girl under an umbrella in a fountain. What are you going to do today? Sonny asked. Well, Sonny, answered the man, after my morning walk, I'm gonna write another book. Can I be in it? Asked Sonny. You've written about all the other animals in the neighborhood, including my parents. Can you include me this time? Sure, Sonny, replied the man. In this book, I will include you. Oh, boy, said Sonny. I'm going to be famous just like my parents. Let's hope so, replied Mr. B. Sonny hopped away into the park. The sun was higher now, and the frost had melted away. He looked to the west and saw the sun smiling off the snow on the mountains. It sure looks cold up there, Sonny thought to himself. Just then, Sonny heard a conversation in a pine tree to his left. Well, if you hadn't made such a racket, I could have gotten it waiting for you, said a girl squirrel named Sally. That is so beautiful, remarked a girl crow named Callie. I couldn't restrain myself. It's the most beautiful gemstone I've ever seen. The blue is intense, and when the light hits it, reminds me of Lake Tahoe. Hanging from the tree was a bird feeder that Sally was swinging on. Down below on the ground was Callie, pacing back and forth. Behind Callie was a statue of a boy in blue jeans, a red and black plaid shirt, and a wide-brimmed hat with his hands reaching up to the sky. The statue was facing toward the sunrise in the southeast. In front of it was a small fountain and a pool of water with solar nightlights surrounding it. What are you two up to? Asked Sonny. answered Sally.
Oh, I wouldn't call it stealing,
remarked Callie.
I just want to borrow for a very long time. It'll be the crown jewel of my nest with all my other shiny things.
Did you ask her for permission?
asked Sonny.
No,
replied Callie.
she always shoos me away when I come near her.
Well then, that would be stealing.
Reasoned Sonny.
Anytime you take something that doesn't belong to you without permission, it's stealing.
Are you calling me a thief?
Callie asked Sonny.
Well, yes,
replied Sonny.
I resemble that comment.
Remarked Callie.
You sure do,
said Sally.
What about all those socks you keep hoarding for your nest?
Callie asked Sally.
If I'm a thief, then so are you. I just can't help myself.
Sally responded.
Every time Mr. Walker sets out his clothes to take to the laundromat and goes back in to get the soap, that's just too perfect an opportunity to take those out.
I just chew on stuff,
said Sonny as he ate another dandelion. Sally and Callie looked perplexed.
You eat those?
They asked.
Well, they do turn my tongue yellow,
said Sonny.
but they taste great. I'll just eat the flowers and the greens. My ma told me to leave the stems alone or I would get an upset stomach.
Just then, another bunny popped its head out from under the hedge next to the house.
That was my dandelion you just ate.
The girl bunny said.
Oh, I'm sorry,
said Sonny.
I didn't know any other bunnies lived here. My name is Sonny,
he continued.
What is your name?
Penny,
replied the little girl bunny.
you only a dandelion, and it must be no more than a week old. That's how long I was waiting to eat that one.
Well, okay,
replied Sonny.
I live in that pile of branches right over there.
As he turned to point to his house, he saw Mr. Walker picking it up and throwing it into the trash.
No!
He screamed.
It's not laundry day, is it?
Sally asked Callie. Callie answered.
Not for a few days.
What am I gonna do?
Sonny asked himself in bewilderment.
Well, you still have a hedge over there.
Remarked Penny.
Look what I did with mine.
Sonny hopped over and took a look at all the furnishings Penny had tucked away under the hedge.
Wow!
Exclaimed Sonny.
That's pretty creative. I especially like that bird's nest sofa you have under there.
I like to use it for my afternoon nap,
said Penny.
I better start gathering some pine needles from the park so I have something other than dirt to sleep on tonight,
explained Sonny.
Nice to meet you, Penny,
he said as he hopped around the corner into the park. The sun was up above now, and everything was nice and warm.
Nice to meet you too,
yelled Penny. No sooner did Sonny run around the corner than he bumped into Molly the mole and knocked her down.
Watch where you're going, young boy.
Exclaimed Molly.
Sorry, Molly,
said Sonny. He helped her get up, dusted her off, and put her glasses back on.
I'll try to be more careful next time,
he assured her, and then he hopped away.
Now can we get that ring?
Callie asked Sally.
I hear something,
Said Sally.
it's coming from the backyard. I hear it too.
Said Callie.
Sounds like water. Let me fly around and see what's going on.
Callie flew around the corner into the park and over Sonny, who is hopping toward his hedge with a mouthful of pine needles. She caught a breeze in the park and flew up like a kite. There it was, water flowing into Miss Beam's swimming pool. She was filling it up for the summer. Callie circled around and landed next to Sally.
I've got the answer,
Said Callie to Sally.
Miss Beam is filling up the swimming pool. So,
Said Sally.
she does that every year when it starts getting warmer. And do you know what she does next to the pool?
Asked Callie.
Not much!
Replied Sally.
Just lays around and takes a... Oh, she takes a nap! That's why I can sneak up to her and take the ring! Great minds think alike!
Callie remarked.
It's going to take a while for her to fill that pool! Let's take a nap ourselves! And when we wake up, it'll be time for Miss Beam to take her nap!
Sally reasoned.
Okay!
Said Callie.
I'll call you when I wake up!
Meanwhile, Sonny was busy filling his bed up with pine needles. He grabbed a bunch and ran back to his bed. He grabbed another bunch and ran back to his bed.
Uh-oh,
Said Sonny.
there's a car coming. I better wait. Look both ways before crossing the street and run like the wind.
The car passed and Sonny bolted across the street with his pine needles. High up in a very tall tree near the other open area leading to the park perched a hawk named Henry. Sonny's white tail bouncing around caught his attention. He pulled out his binoculars.
Run, little bunny. Run.
Muttered Henry.
Soon you'll get very tired. Ah, I see where you live. He's building his bed. This may take a while.
Henry reasoned. Sonny was running fast back and forth to the pine trees and then back to his bed, and it was taking a long time because he could only fit a little bit in his mouth each time.
I wish I was strong enough to use Mr. Walker's wheelbarrow,
Thought Sonny.
This is gonna take me forever.
After an hour went by, Sonny stopped running fast. He was getting tired out. He slowed down to just a few hops at a time. A call rang out through the neighborhood. Shouted Callie. Shouted Sally. Callie flew over the pool and then back around to Sally.
I just flew over the pool, and guess what?
Said Callie.
What?
Asked Sally.
She's wearing the big, beautiful amethyst ring with the little diamonds around it.
Answered Callie.
And she's asleep. Perfect.
Said Sally.
Time for a pool.
Sally hopped from the bird feeder to the tree. She climbed up the tree, jumping from branch to branch and then onto the roof of the house. She ran along the rain gutter along the side of the house. Next, she jumped onto the fence separating the pool from the park. She ran on the fence up to the park and turned left, continuing on top of the fence. Then she jumped onto a big umbrella in the middle of a table next to the pool. She slid down the umbrella and onto the chair. She heard some cawing not too far away, but it wasn't Callie. Callie was circling above her. She jumped off the chair and ran along the pool over to Miss Beam. Miss Beam was laying down on a blue chaise lounge chair fast asleep with her hand hanging down near the ground.
I see!
Shouted Sally.
Quiet!
Squat Callie up above.
You'll wake her up!
Just then, Callie heard some crows calling nearby.
Uh-oh!
Said Callie.
Henry the Hawk is on the hook. I've got to join some other crows for a minute, Sally. Don't worry,
Whispered Sally.
I've got this.
Callie flew off and joined some of the other crows in the neighborhood. Henry spread his wings and pushed off his high perch and slowly circled over the park. Well, seeing her husband on the hunt, his wife Henrietta joined him.
Hey, get out of here!
Squawked 4 crows.
This is our territory.
Henrietta flew higher to gain an advantage over the crows, but only 2 followed her, while the other 2 went after Henry.
You're after Sonny.
Exclaimed Callie.
Leave that poor bunny alone.
Well, think of it this way.
Explained Henry.
This way he won't have to build a home. I've already got one prepared for him in my belly.
Run, Sonny!
Shouted Callie.
Run from what?
He asked as she looked up to see a big hawk with a 7-foot wingspan swooping down after him. Sonny ran as fast as he could, but he was already tired and out of breath. He saw Molly the mole up ahead of him on the hill.
Look out, Molly!
Sonny shouted.
Look out for what?
Asked Molly.
The hawks are after me!
Shouted Sonny.
Well, I don't see how that is any concern of mine.
Replied Molly. Just then, Sonny felt the hair rising on the back of his neck.
What did Dad say?
Sonny tried to remember.
Oh yeah, hares rise, take a dive.
Sonny remembered as he dove into the ground and into Molly. Henry swooped down and just missed Sonny, but got Molly's glasses.
Bring back my glasses.
Shouted Molly as she shook her fist into the air.
Now I can see why you can't see how that is any concern of yours.
Remarked Sonny. The crows attacked the hawks by continually pecking them and drove them away from the neighborhood for now. Callie circled back to Sally.
I just need to loosen this off her finger.
Sally said to herself as she turned the ring back and forth.
I need to get some suntan lotion on her finger so I can slide it off.
Sally ran over to the lotion and jumped on it, causing some to come out. She scooped up a little dab and walked back to Miss Beam's ring finger. Sally put some lotion on the finger when she heard Miss Beam snort.
That is not how you paint the sky.
Miss Beam muttered in her sleep, and then she rolled over to the opposite side.
Nice!
Sally cried. She scampered to the other side of the chair and continued applying the lotion. She turned the ring back and forth, and it slid off.
I did it!
Callie swooped down to retrieve her prize. She landed and waddled up to Sally.
It's simply magnificent!
Said Callie as she went to take the ring from Sally.
I've never seen anything that compares to its beauty.
Just then, another crow swooped in front of Callie to grab the ring. Sally pulled the ring back.
Oh, no, you don't!
Said Sally.
This is a ghost ring for Kelly and you can't have it!
Just give me the ring and no one will get hurt,
said the other crow.
You sure will!
Yelled Callie. She jumped on the other crow's back and pecked it on the head 3 times.
Ow, ow, ow!
Shouted the other crow. All the commotion woke Miss Bean.
Crows!
She screamed. The crows both grabbed the ring and tried to wrestle it out of Sally's hand.
My ring!
Shouted Miss Bean. Shouted Callie.
My ring!
Shouted the other crow. Both crows had their beaks clenched onto the ring. Sally let go of the ring and it went flying into the air, with the crows falling backward into the pool. Miss Bean jumped to her feet and reached over the pool and caught the ring.
It's my ring, you dinglings!
She responded.
Now shoot! All of you!
Sally ran up the fence. The crows pulled themselves out of the pool and onto the steps. They shook off the water and flew away. Meanwhile, Penny hopped across the street with some pine needles in her mouth. She put them on top of the other pine needles Sonny had gathered.
Hi, Sonny!
Penny said after dropping the pine needles.
Your place looks great! I'll bet you'll sleep nice and safe here tonight!
Why, thank you, Penny.
Said Sonny.
You wouldn't believe what I had to go through to make my bed today.
The end. Sonny Bunny, written by David Van Wieren. Sonny Bunny, Sonny, the Wild West Bunny. Sonny Bunny eats a 4-leaf clover with a hawk flying over and runs around the bend. Penny is his friend till the very end. She likes to decorate and renovate his comfy cozy den. Sonny, the Wild West Bunny. Sonny Bunny, Sonny, the Wild West Bunny. Sonny Bunny. You're so funny, wanna spend all your money on a soft, fuzzy doll. If you don't wanna hold them, see the one who's sold, put them on the shelf on your wall. Let loose all you care. Put your big foot in the air. Dance the bunny hop if you dare.